What is good, Cowboys Nation? Dallas won 20-17 yesterday afternoon. Got a lot of things to talk about in today's stream. It was an ugly win, but a win is a win. Before we get into everything, I would just like to point out that about 90% of you guys who watch my videos, streams, and all that are not subscribed to the channel. So if that is you, do me a favor, hit that big red subscribe button, make it say subscribe, tap the bell icon next to it to get notified anytime I upload or go live. Drop a like on the stream, the video, however you're watching this. Leave a comment down below or come hang out in my chat. And let me know what you think of this, like I said, Week 2 20-17 win over the Los Angeles Chargers. Got Monday Night Football here in about 45 minutes, so I want to make this kind of brief. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream, also considering that I don't have either Elliot or Alec with me. So it's just going to kind of be me talking, so we're gonna do our best. Starting with the offense. Let's start with the offensive line. I think getting Zach Martin back obviously was huge going into the game. We all knew that. And he just further proved it, in various points, especially when we got inside the red zone, somewhere where the Cowboys haven't really been that good at over the past few seasons. He was the Cowboys' highest graded player per PFF upon their initial review. Terrence Steele right next to him. Now, he held Joey Bosa to 3 tackles, 0 sacks, and 0 quarterback hurries. He did get a little bit of help, all right? Let's not get it twisted. He didn't do this all on his own because, let's be honest, Terrence Steele isn't that guy. But I think with the help he got, he didn't do too bad. And I don't know if I'm necessarily confident in him for the weeks to come. He's still got to replace La'el Collins for 4 more games, assuming La'el's suspension is upheld and not overturned. That's being reviewed by the commissioner's office right now. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I have instilled confidence in him, for the next 4 games, but this was a good starting point, and I got to tip my cap to him because myself, along with a lot of Cowboys Nation, didn't believe in Terrence Steele leading up to this game. Tomorrow or either tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm going to make a fun little apology video because I said a lot of things during our preview stream that I have to sincerely apologize for. So props to Terrence Steele. He did a pretty good job holding Joey Bosa, but let's pump the brakes on him being reliable for just a little bit. Let's give him a few more weeks. Offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, this dude called an amazing game, and Mike McCarthy said after the game that he is bound to get a head coaching job somewhere, which is absolutely, unequivocally 110% true. I don't think Kellen Moore is the Cowboys offensive coordinator next year. He did just an exceptional job against the Chargers defense that isn't, bad by any stretch of the imagination. You look at maybe, Eric Bieniemy's situation where he didn't become a head coach, and you think maybe, maybe Kellen Moore stays here because he likes Kansas City, or because he likes Dallas, kind of like Eric Bieniemy liked Kansas City more than the options available. But I don't see a situation in which Kellen Moore doesn't get a head coaching job. As far as how he called this game on offense, integrated the run really, really well. 31 carries and 198 yards on the ground as opposed to 221 through the air. We talked about a lot going into this game, how the Cowboys need to integrate that run. They're facing a defense that's not as good as the one they faced in Week 1. Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the second best run defense in football dating back to 2019. Los Angeles Chargers, not quite up there with them, more of a subpar, middle of the pack run defense. So I think integrating Tony Pollard, who we'll talk about a lot more in detail a little bit later, and Ezekiel Elliott was very smart on his behalf, and he did a great job. Also kept the passing game short. Dak Prescott only averaged about 3.4 average air completed yards, and that's something when, like I said, you're with Terrence Steele at right tackle, and I did tip my cap to him. He did do a great job, but with help. You got a pass rush as good as the Los Angeles Chargers. You kind of have to, keep the passing game short. You're not going to see this, super deep attack offense until we get into this Monday night game against Philly, this game against New York and Carolina, because the Cowboys' first 2 opponents have really, really good defenses, especially when it comes to rushing the passer. Both Los Angeles and Tampa Bay do a really good job of that. So I think Kellen Moore adapting to that situation and, like I said, keeping the passing game short, not only in this game, but last week, was something that he did really well. And, like I've already said, he will absolutely get a coaching job in the years to come. Other guys who played well on the offense include Dak Prescott, obviously led the game-winning drive. CeeDee Lamb, he averaged 3.45 yards of separation. The league average is 2.87, so you'd love to see that out of him. Ezekiel Elliott, 16 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown, averaged just under 4.5 yards per carry. The one thing I will say about this offense, and I've been raving about it, but it did struggle a little bit, especially in the red zone. And this is something that we have talked about multiple times following the Cowboys' Week 1 loss to the Buccaneers, was the red zone offense. We obviously all wanted to see it improve because it hasn't been that great over the past few years. And even Elliott said in our preview stream, he's a little surprised it's something that struggles, and I am too. I mean, with an offense this potent, you'd think they'd be pretty good down inside the 20, but for some reason they aren't. And this is something that I've been harping on them on for a very long time. If you want to be able to compete with the big dogs, the Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Kansas City Chiefs of the world, you absolutely have to be good in the red zone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you can't capitalize, especially when your defense is giving you takeaways, and we'll talk about the defense and how excited I am for them here in a little bit, but if you can't capitalize off those takeaways when they give you short field position, you're not going to be able to win the amount of games you guys all think the Cowboys can win. And I'm talking about the people that think the Cowboys can win 12, 13, 14 games. I wouldn't rule it out because they have the talent to do so. You just, like I said, you have to execute inside the 20 because the red zone offense is arguably the most important part of an offense. Being able to convert down there is super, super big. You can't win games if you're failing to convert. So that's something I want to see the Cowboys improve on. I did a video midweek. I've since unlisted it because I want to. I would think I was a little too early with some of those things. I'm going to make that video again at some point in the coming weeks. But it was over the things I want the Cowboys to improve in over the course of the year. And red zone offense was a big point I made. You just got to get better down inside the 20. All right, I'm going to only go over one player on offense. His name is Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is very, very underrated. 13 carries, 109 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. Through the area, 3 receptions and 21 yards. I think the big question with Tony Pollard is he the new favored back in non-short yardage situations? And my answer to that would be yes. We've seen Mike McCarthy multiple times talk about how he's going to use Tony Pollard more and more as the season kind of kicks off. And then as we get down the stretch and hopefully into the playoffs, you're going to see more of 21 back there. But if Tony Pollard can keep this up, I don't necessarily want to say I want to see him in there more than Zeke because this game did favor him quite a bit. But as a change of pace back, just keeping the defense guessing. You got Ezekiel Elliott, very good running back still, despite what you may think. Who's more of a up the middle runner, down the gut, truck his way into the end zone. Meanwhile, Tony Pollard, you give it to him on the outside, and you can make a few people miss with some juice and spins and whatnot. So there's two very different running backs, and I think it's awesome the Cowboys have both those guys. Tony Pollard's going to be a Cowboy for this year. I think it's next year, and then his contract year comes. Or it could be his contract year is next year, not the year after next. I'm not sure. I believe we have him for one more year after this before he hits free agency. So I think we have to appreciate Tony Pollard while we have him. I'm excited to see how Kellen Moore integrates him into the offense in these next 3 home games against some run defenses that aren't the best other than Carolina. New York and Philadelphia aren't best known. Well, Philadelphia, the fact that they lost, I think, Brandon Graham, it doesn't help them, but definitely favorable. Compared to the Cowboys' previous 2 opponents. So I really like the way Tony Pollard was used, and Elliott talks about him as an X factor. I wouldn't disagree with him whatsoever. I'm just really excited that we have Tony Pollard back there. You guys have to consider Tony Pollard could be a starting running back for like a third of the teams in the league. So great value the Cowboys found, and I believe the 4th round a few years ago in the draft. All right, let's flip things over to the defense. Finally, this defense is getting takeaways. 2 yesterday, up to 6 in total this season. Takeaways is something that we all know the Cowboys defenses in years past just have not been able to get. And in order to, like I said, compete with teams like Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Kansas City Chiefs, not only do you have to be good in the red zone, you have to get takeaways on defense. And finally, the Cowboys are finding ways to do that. DeMonte Casey had a pick, and Trayvon Diggs also had an interception. We'll talk about those guys here in a second. But getting takeaways, to have already 6 this year is huge, and I'm very, very excited to see what this defense has in store for us, especially in the secondary. I still think it needs to get a little better in terms of the cornerback position. Maybe you need to make a trade midseason. But as far as the safeties and some guys in that cornerback room, they've done a very good job through 2 games so far, and I can't wait to see the total number of takeaways we have, let's say, past our bye, because I think it's going to be a lot better than what a lot of people think. The pass rush surprisingly showed up. We talked about the pass rush leading into this game as something I think we were all really concerned about. Obviously, the Cowboys are going to be without DeMarcus Lawrence for a long time, probably about 2 to maybe 3 months. Randy Gregory hasn't been activated off the COVID list yet. Don't know when he will be, not sure. But Micah Parsons off the edge and Dorrance Armstrong did really, really well. Let's talk about Micah Parsons specifically. He had a sack, a tackle for loss, and 4 quarterback hits. Now, that sack in quotations, it wasn't really a sack, but let's be honest, he got credited with it. So I don't really know where I'm going with this, but he got credit with it, so it was just whatever. He led with 4.1 yards of average separation from the quarterback. The league average is 4.52. His 8 quarterback pressures was the most by a rookie since Nick Bosa in 2019. A lot of people had a little bit of doubts here and there about Micah Parsons coming off the edge, myself included. Being a rookie, haven't had played that position since high school. I was kind of worried by how it might have went. But I was wrong, and this is one of the apologies I'm going to have to make in, like I said, that video that's coming either tomorrow or Wednesday, because he did an exceptional job off the edge. A lot of people were concerned about his size. I don't think people realize that he's only like 6 pounds lighter than TJ Watt, so that's not really something we got to talk about. I think his size off the edge is just fine. But Micah Parsons, as an edge rusher, while we have D-Law out and potentially Randy Gregory, who's experiencing his first full season in the NFL, if he at any point goes down with an injury, I think Micah Parsons off the edge is something, or someone I should say, you should be very, very comfortable with in that position. The versatility of Micah Parsons at the 12th overall selection, or getting picked 12th overall, is huge. I think if people could see into the future and see what this kid is capable of, he would have gone definitely a lot higher than where he went in the draft, and maybe the Cowboys do end up with Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, but that's the great thing about the NFL draft. You can't see into the future. Every pick is a toss-up. So Micah Parsons did great off the edge on Sunday. Other guys who played well include, obviously, Damontae Kazee and Trayvon Diggs, who I mentioned we'll talk about here in a second. But Osa Odigizua had 2 quarterback hits. He was also the Cowboys' highest-graded run defender per PFF's initial grade. Dorrance Armstrong, I talked about, had a quarterback hit. Jaron Kearse all over the field. A tackle for loss, a pass deflection. He seemingly got pressure every time he rushed a quarterback. Jalen Smith actually did pretty well, specifically in coverage against Jared Cook at one point in the game. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. LVE had a sack, 2 tackles for loss. Malik Hooker, a tackle for loss in the box. And the thing about Malik Hooker is that tackle for loss in the box, that play specifically, is not his strength. He's more of a cover 1, sit back there, be a super ultra rangy guy, just to kind of blanket the corners. And, to see him make that play down in the box, get that tackle for loss was huge. I'm a huge fan of Malik Hooker. Can't wait to see what he does in the coming weeks. But let's talk about Damontae Kazee and Trayvon Diggs, because these 2 guys are on the come up. Damontae Kazee has been in the league obviously a lot longer than Trayvon Diggs. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, though, he's going to get himself a bag in the offseason. His contract right now is currently, I think, $1.2 million. It's just a 1-year deal. He had that interception on 3rd and 6 inside the 10-yard line. A tie game was 14-14 at that point. The Cowboys' win percentage increased from 33 to 46% after that interception per Next Gen Stats. He has made some huge plays so far for the Cowboys this season. Obviously that one, and then if you remember back to week 1, Chris Godwin with, I want to say it was like 5 minutes to go, might have been a little longer, inside the 5-yard line, forced a fumble, gave the Cowboys a chance to get down the field and take the lead with that Greg the Leg field goal. So Damontae Kazee has been everything for this Cowboys defense in the secondary. Obviously, he had that great 2018 season where I believe he had 7 interceptions. He led the league with those picks. I don't know if he's necessarily returning to that form. That was a really, really good safety coming off an Achilles injury. I just don't see a scenario where he gets back to that point, but he's getting real close through these first 2 games. He is the ball hawk this defense needed, And as we've talked about already, takeaways is something that in the years past, this Cowboys defense has just not been able to get. But Damontae Kazee has done a great job flipping the script. Speaking of getting takeaways, flipping the script, Trayvon Diggs. That diving interception he had in the first quarter on Keenan Allen was his 5th in 14 career games. He also had a pass deflection in this one. He has the potential to be a superstar in this league. Obviously, he did really, really well against Mike Evans in week 1. I think he only gave up a reception for 10 yards, shouted him 83% of the time. Little bit of a different story. Week 2 started the game off really well against Keenan Allen, but had some hiccups here and there later on. I don't know if he's necessarily Jalen Ramsey, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander yet, but he definitely has the potential to be that person. You guys don't often realize that he's matching up against Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Mike Gallup in practice. He's getting these reps every single day in practice against legitimate number 1 receivers. So I think his journey to stardom happens a lot quicker than some other cornerbacks that got drafted not only this year but in last year. You can even extend that further back to 2019. I think he did a really good job. Obviously, that pick was just crazy, super athletic. I don't know, this is kind of a corny comparison, but for those of you who play Madden, it's like reminding me of that acrobat ability that they have in on some players. He just did an amazing job. The reason why I say it reminds me of that because it looked like a video game interception. He laid out for that thing, man. It was awesome. But obviously, we all like Trayvon Diggs. I like Trayvon Diggs. I'm not hating on him. I'm not ready to call him, a Marlon Humphrey just yet. He's not there yet, but he will get there. I can assure you that. He's got Devonta Smith Monday Night Football, and then Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, whoever they match him up against, and then after that, Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, depends. He's got some true tests here, some true tests there, maybe some easy matchups over these next 3 weeks, depending on how you look at it. But definitely, I like Trayvon Diggs and the potential he has in this league. All right, that is about all I've got for you today. Once again, I do apologize because this stream was a little short, as I previously mentioned. Don't have Elliot or Alec with me today. Also, Monday Night Football starts here in about 20 minutes or so. So I want to watch the Packers take on the Lions. If you enjoyed, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Check back later this week. We'll have some more videos wrapping up this 20-17 win against the Los Angeles Chargers. And as we get closer towards the end of the week, we will start to look forward to the Cowboys Monday Night Football game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the final game of week 3. All right, like I said, it's everything out for you. Once again, if you enjoyed, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Monkey.